Aloha. Good morning. I think they heard me. Oh, welcome, everyone. This morning, we're going to open up with a gathering song. It's entitled Searching by the Coasters. It'll be on the screen. We invite you to join in on the energy. We'd like to sing according to our survey. We'd like to dance. So let's put our action to words and stand up and with our opening song, Searching.
Again, here are the Coasters.
Thank you for participating.
As we light the chalice, we enter a time of curiosity and exploration. We are curious about our neighbors' wants, needs, interests, and perceptions. We wonder where we overlap and where our differences add spice and flair to our UU congregation. Today, we are reviewing the answers to a survey, but on a deeper level. Let's explore how we support each other's search for meaning, connection, and purpose within this beautiful ohana.
Thank you, Nan. So welcome, everyone. We're on our second series of our summer schedule. We're creating a more comfortable, relaxed setting with the chairs the way it's set up. We've invited visitors from the community to speak on relevant subjects. So please join us for the summer schedule throughout the summer. And so the title of our sermon today is What We Say We Want. And you'll hear more about that from the search team and Laurel, our infamous captain. And should I introduce the search team while I'm up here? And so, this is your search team. We've been working rather hard. We've been meeting regularly, and we'll keep you updated and informed on some of the activities that are going on. But for now, let me introduce you, if you haven't already met our wonderful search committee, our infamous, fearless leader, Laurel Zeri. We have Janice, also a wealth of information, Nan Potterfield. She's also in conjunction with the Hope for Us team, Laurel Gomez, who is not here as well, and Dan Carpenter, who is, I believe, on his way to Mexico right now, visiting Oaxaca, and myself, your infamous leader as well. So yes, thank you. So with that being said, whoever you are, wherever you're from, welcome. You are welcome here. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, where we build a beloved community, and to boldly grow, you know this script: compassion, justice, and joy. It is also wonderful to see all of your smiling faces here. And for those on Zoom as well who joined us every Sunday, thank you for choosing this congregation to worship with. For those in the sanctuary after our service, please join us for light refreshments in the gallery. The hospitality team have put together some sweets, some drinks, and there we can get to know you better and talk story. So without further ado, let's see what's next on our agenda. Janice, would you please provide a reading?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope I get this microphone straight. Is everybody okay hearing me? Okay. Closer? Okay, yeah. These microphones are so tricky. Hi out there in Zoom land. Yes, our search team has been searching and searching and searching. And the search team wants to thank all of you for sharing a little bit about your experience in our church, a little bit about yourselves, and all of your thoughts about our congregational needs. We're so gratified that so many of you participated. Your answers provided us with much news for thought. Laurel will report a little bit later, following about the results, and then we'll have ample time to have some discussion and answers to your questions. You know, there's an old joke, and there's so much truth with it, is universalist is where you go to have your answers questioned. But first, I'd like to talk to you just a little bit about surveys. The appeal of surveys is obvious. They're a relatively easy way to gather information and collect different data. But without data, each of us is just another person with an opinion. And there were 47 of you who had opinions and expressed them in our survey. It was wonderful. Surveys work poorly if we draw any conclusion with the results of the survey alone, because they're often used as a quasi-vote and not as a means to explore a broader viewpoint. 25% of the congregation said readings were very important to them as part of the service. 75% they were not important at all. Therefore, we should discontinue readings. This is not from our church, but is an example of how they can be used without collecting any more information. The importance of data collection through surveys is to move beyond the subjective opinions. And The results are a way of understanding a range of views and then identify which conversations need to take place. Our survey data is meant to be used as a prelude to discussions. What? Oh, there it is. Oh, the paper stopped it. Okay. Our survey is meant to be used as a prelude to discussions and to identify specific areas in which our congregation can talk about their programs and services. Our survey is meant to be used as a prelude to discussions and to identify specific areas in which our church can improve our programs, services, and communications. This hypothetical survey is an excellent example of how poorly designed survey questions can lead to flawed and unreliable results, and most likely a very bad conclusion. A worldwide survey was conducted by the United Nations. Each representative was asked only one question. Would you please give your honest opinion about solutions to the food shortage in the rest of the world? None of the Eastern European countries knew what honest meant. None of the Western European countries knew what shortage meant. The African nations didn't know what food meant. In China, they were puzzled and asked for elaboration on the meaning of opinion. In the Middle East, they didn't know what solution meant. In South America, they didn't know what please meant. And in the United States, they didn't know what the rest of the world meant. So obviously, the conclusions of that were either nothing or very poorly answered. A good conclusion from a survey is, we didn't know so many of you felt that way or thought that way. Let's get them together. So that's what we're going to do today.
Good morning. My name is... No, I've got a mic. Ian, is there... I have to turn it off. Oh, I'm feeling so good here.
It's got a green light, Ian.
Okay, now you can hear me, right? Now you can hear me? Oh, okay. Technology works. Great. My name is Laurel Zeri. Thank you all for coming this morning. I am looking forward to giving you the results of the survey. I hope you all came wanting to know them. As Janice said, surveys don't exactly give us answers. They do show us what the right questions are. People spent a lot of time giving thoughtful answers to many of the questions. There are 30 pages of responses to a dozen open-ended questions. Your search team read every one of them. So many thoughtful responses and suggestions are going to take time for everyone to read. I made a review copy, but you'll also get copies through the electronically. We'll figure out how to distribute them. But there is a review copy. We are going to need more church town hall style meetings in order to discuss all the ideas people have for improvement. And we're going to have to have them focused on topics in order to move forward. This morning, we will explore what we can learn from an overview of the survey and from the search so far, and discuss what our next steps are. So who did we hear from? We heard from 47 people. 40 of them were members. That's more than half of our members. No other church survey had more than half their members responding. So thank you all. 88% of us are older than 60, and only 2 people who responded have got kids. How long have you been at our church? 66% have been here for more than 10 years. And we had a few people and 20 people, that was not quite half, have been here for more than 20. Religious background, 21% said they were raised as UUs, 69% said they were raised in other faiths, and 10% said something else, including, this is a bad question. We did a Likert scale of how important is spirituality to you, and we came up above average. Now, only 3 people said it wasn't important at all. That's a pause. All right. All right. Who did we hear from? Ethnicity. All right. Ta-da! What? Okay, so a small percentage said that they were something other than white. This big section here is people who said they were white in a variety of ways. Even people who, there were Caucasians, there were Europeans, there were Scotch-Irish, there were Howleys, there was another one. I myself did not write pink, but I consider myself, but there was a decline to state, and I'm kind of guessing, yeah, maybe there are other pink people. But 16% of us said it's important, and I feel accepted. Nobody said, I don't feel accepted. All right. Gender and sexual orientation. We got half of the responses were from women, maybe 1/6 of them were from men, 2 and 1/3 of them were people who didn't say whether or not they were a man or a woman. And in gender, we had a small section of people who said they were gay or lesbian, a big green section of people who said they were heterosexual, some people who said, well, not exactly either, and a big section, more than 1/3, who said none of your business. No, they said decline to state. Okay. So a few people thought we paid too much attention, but nobody thought they didn't feel it, that they weren't accepted at church. Okay. Oh, I was going to fill in this section as we, oh, there it is underneath. Okay, so the next section, what brought you to church? Related question, why do you stay? And another related question, what's your favorite thing? When you look at all the comments, people keep saying, I came because I was looking for community, I was looking for friends, I like the people here. And then they also say things like, we like the beliefs, we like the lack of dogma, we like the values we find here, we like the principles. And next favorite thing after those 2 most common answer is the music. People came because they liked the music. People came for social justice. And people still came for OWL. Many people came because they wanted to get education for themselves or for their kids. And OWL figured into that. And some people came because of personal invitation. And the other, because they got a job here, because they were exploring other churches, other reasons. But when you ask them, what keeps you here? Same list. Okay, they don't come for education anymore. They don't stay for education. They don't stay because they had a personal invitation to come the first time. And they have a few other reasons why they stay, and that includes inspiration, forgiveness, and some people said specifically the ministers. And when you ask them, what's your favorite thing about church, our church? Same answers, okay? Again, education's not the favorite thing, and personal invitation, but the rest, the list, it's still their favorite things of why people are here. And the sermons, fresh ideas, welcoming is some of the reasons that come in there. Okay. We also asked about Sunday services. What is your, okay, what part of the Sunday service do you really like? What part would you like to get rid of? And what would you like to change up? And it turns out, overwhelmingly, people like a sermon or a homily. They like the music. They come for the music. A lot of people like joys and concerns. A lot of people like the readings. Some people like story for all ages, the meditation and prayer. But when you ask what's their not so favorite, you get a similar answer, but the proportions are different. Land acknowledgement is not most people's favorite. Some people want to get rid of it. Story for all ages. There are so many suggestions for how to change up our order of service on Sundays. This isn't the forum to figure out how we ought to put together Sunday services, but people who are interested need to get together. Okay. Okay, there was a big section in the survey about how do we feel about our congregation and leadership. It's quite long. I had some highlights, but actually, I'm feeling upset about our leadership and congregation, and I think I want to just skip to the next section. We do have zillions of comments. I know, I'm allowed to wander around, but once I got it working, I was afraid to pick it up. Okay. One thing we did say when we asked how do we respond first, when we just find something that we disagree with. And about half the people said they talk to the people in their circles. 9 people said that they would contact the board of directors first. 7 people said they internalized, don't talk about it to anybody. 5 people said they would organize support. 2 people said they would tell the minister, and 1 person said they would withdraw from the congregation. My guess is people who participated in this survey are not people who withdrew from this congregation. Okay, so what did we say we want when it comes to a minister? We said we want them to provide inspiring worship, although different people have different ideas about what inspiring worship might be. We said we want the minister to provide pastoral care, and again, we might have different ideas about what pastoral care is. We want someone who builds membership through interpersonal relationships. We want somebody who participates in community outreach, somebody who can still supervise staff and collaborate with volunteers, preside at weddings and funerals, what else do we celebrate, when babies are born. And it's someone who teaches, but not so much those last ones. But we are looking for those things, so in that order. Next one. Okay. And the qualities we're looking for are fosters a sense of community overwhelmingly. Even people who don't belong to our church responded that the minister should foster a sense of community. Supports and empowers volunteers. Conflict resolution skills. Lots of people put that as a priority. Encourages social justice projects. About half the people said that was a big priority. Leads by example, supports families and multi-generational ministries. That's great. We have 2 people with kids. Okay. Attends church social functions. What else? Effective admin skills, embracing Hawaiian culture, promoting anti-racist practices, and using gender-inclusive language, in that order. Okay, spoiler alert, we're almost done. Okay, there's only 2 more bits about the activities, and then we're on to the summary, and then we're on to the recommendations and discussion. Okay, so we asked about what kind of activities do you like to do? What kind of activities have you done? And there were surprising answers, and some that weren't so surprising. Almost everybody has tried Zoom Church. Only 6 people want to keep doing it sometimes. Attending a special music event. 22 people have done it. 24 people want to do it. I remember when we had Julian. He played the cornet with his band, and we had a Valentine's Day dance party in church. It was a special event, and I still remember it. But we've had others. We've had the Saloon Pilots. We've had some great musical events. 14 people said they'd like to give a homily or preach. 13 people said they did it, so the people who have done it liked it enough to do it again. 14 people, that's 14 services people. People who serve on the board. 19 people said that they served on the board. 6 people said they want to do it. We have 7 people on the board. Okay. The building and grounds team has got 15 people who said they want to do it. Now, it's possible that there was a misunderstanding and somebody thought coming to help at a work party was the same as being on the building and grounds team. But still, it looks like there are volunteers out there that haven't been tapped. Similar on the care team. We've got 6 people who've said they've done it, but we've got 12 who say they want to do it. There's room for us to expand the care team as a community if we want to. Hospitality. 7 people said they want to do it. 21 people said they have done it. Okay, circle suppers, also another popular idea. People would like to have those. When you ask what gives people the deepest sense of belonging out of all of those, turns out oh wait, wrong slide. Oh well. Turns out what they really like to do. Wait. Future expectation. There it is. Okay. So the other activities that people would like to see at church are OWL, more music, rituals, Hawaiian culture training and education, sort of like the way we do the welcoming congregations training. Maybe we could have Hawaiian culture as a community training. People still want more social justice activities, more conflict resolution, respect, fun social events, community and interfaith activities, safe congregations, focused discussion groups. There's a women's circle, as well as a theology. There's adult education people are wanting. People mentioned the choir director that we want. And cultural excursions were another activity people mentioned. But there are lots and lots of suggestions. And when you ask people what activities give you the deepest sense of belonging, they're all over the place. Everybody likes, almost everybody likes volunteering at something. People like preparing food, eating food. They like getting to know people. They like the chalice circles and other types of circle suppers where you get to know people and you get to eat. People like to do greeting. Some people like to serve on the board. Teaching and learning are things people like. Social justice, being on the worship team, being on the membership team, doing hospitality, doing music, singing, community outreach. Even building and grounds has got people who say, that gives me the deepest sense of belonging to our, so people really like to do stuff and belong, and there's a lot of people out there saying that they want to do stuff. Oh, there's that beautiful list. Okay, next one. In summary, yay. We are Gray Panthers. We are not young, but we are so active. We want so much, and we've got a lot to give. We want inspirational worship. We want pastoral care. We want to build membership at our church. We want to reach out to the community. We'd like to have OWL classes back for our community. And we would like to have great music. So, we went searching. And guess what? Here's the discussion. So now is the time for the offertory. We're going to, after offertory. Okay. Our designee this month, designee is RISE. That stands for Residential Youth Services Empowerment. I think that we should, we don't need to do this separately, pass the plate. I'll tell you a little bit about RISE. I learned about RISE maybe 5 years ago when they gave a presentation to Hawaii Community Foundation. At that time, their mission seemed to be a little bit different. They were focused on kids who had aged out of foster care. They were 18 years old, still didn't have a job, still didn't have a place to live, still had mental health or other medical problems or substance abuse problems. These were young people who had potential but didn't have their acts together, and that's where they tried to help. So now that they've expanded their services to age 14 to 24, they have an emergency shelter, but when they get kids to participate, they help find them housing and services. So they're a lot like YO. They're out there, their mission is to end youth homelessness, and I think they're worth supporting. Anybody? They're in Kailua. Thank you. Thank you for freely offering, and we will give it away to a good cause. Thank you so much. So, the discussion, the exciting conclusions. What has your search team found for you? We have got no applicants, okay? Our consultants at the transitions office say, oh, you shouldn't say you have no applicants, or no, let people know that nobody's applied because somebody might be applying. So I don't know what their logic is. You need to know we have no applicants. I checked it this morning. So we want inspiring worship. How are we going to get that? We want pastoral care. What do we mean by that, and how are we going to get it? We want to build membership. I have a couple ideas. One is look at why people came and why they stayed. Number 4, how are we going to do community outreach? How are we going to get Al back at our church? What can we do about getting great music? I am going to steal somebody's comment that wasn't in the comments. We have a facility that would support chamber music. Every time I've come up with music ideas, people have told me, oh no, we have bad acoustics and stuff. But if you were at any of the memorial services when we've got a cello player and stuff, or long ago when we actually had a chamber ensemble, this facility could handle that, and it would be nice. It could be a special music event. But it's not up to the music director to do that. It's not up to the minister to do that. It's not up to the board to do that. So let's have a discussion.
Ian, thank you. So we're going to open this time up in our service for discussion. If you have any questions, I'll have the mic over to you. But this mic is very sensitive. If you're speaking like so, we may not hear you. And if you're speaking like so, we may not hear you. You got to really have the mic right up against your face so we can hear you. Losing information, it doesn't help. So please, when you ask for the mic, speak right into it. Musicians use the term kiss the mic, but the thought of kissing this mic after several have spoken. So maybe the two-finger process, just keep the mic, two-finger. Kiss, air kiss, yeah. So, but before we start on that, if you know anyone in the community, a potential candidate that you know of, please direct his and her to our website, apply for the position, and it's all part of the process. So reach out to the community as well. Let's open our discussion. A show of hands who'd like to start. Who's the brave one?
All right, thank you, Gabe. I believe that is the start of the discussion, and that is one of the solutions to getting inspiring worship, or the magic minister that you would all like us to find, is if you know anybody, encourage them to apply. We'd like to know about them. Okay, but there are other ideas.
And before we move forward, please give Laurel a hand of applause. That's a lot of work that she put into preparing this presentation. That is a lot of work, and all with the help of Janice and the rest of the search team members. So open discussion. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? How we can move forward from here? And let's go with Greg.
Craig, first of all, thank you for your time putting this together. Second of all, thank you for your transparency that we don't have any applicants yet. So please keep that going no matter what the district says, right? I think transparency is important. So lastly then, thank you for transparency that we don't have any applicants. Lastly, that means we have time, right? We're not under any time to make a decision on somebody who's applied. My one thing to think about is what order importance are these and what qualities, right? Because we probably won't find someone with all the qualities, and what are we willing to accept and not accept. If we look for the perfect candidate, we may not have anybody for a long time. That's it.
Thank you.
It was just a statement. And so yes, again, very important that we speak into the mic.
I just want to say that we did say we really wanted music, and it was not originally in our budget for next year, and the board put it back in the budget for a music director. We have been advertising, and so far we have 2 applicants for a choir director. So things are moving forward.
So yeah, with that being said, we got 2 potential candidates that we'll be interviewing, and a suggestion was made what best way to interview them, and a suggestion was to have them in a choir setting, have the choir here, and let's see how this person really conduct as a director. So we're moving forward. We've got news on applicants on our music of director. Who's the next brave soul? Thank you, Jefferson.
Thank you, Gabriel. Well, I'm probably, many of you may not agree with my suggestion, but I have never understood from the beginning, can you hear me, Janice? How we can hire a person like this at half-time. We need to pay, you can't get this for $40,000. You can't live in Hawaii for $40,000. I think we need to pay a full-time salary. I don't know anything about our budget. I don't know what we can afford. But we just have to step up if we want the minister we're discussing here. Thank you.
Yeah, from what I understand the process, during the interview process, the salary is negotiable, but again, we have to make it look attractive. So Jeff has a good point.
Yeah, following up on Jeff's comment, it seems to me that with a halftime position, it may be easier to find somebody who has retired from a job, and they may not need to have a full-time salary. I don't know how many folks are out there in that situation, but I mean, I don't mean someone who's 95 years old, but recently retired might work.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say what he said about how are you going to get all this with a halftime. I can hear myself on the mic. Please turn up your hearing aids. We're an old congregation. Anyway, I agree. Who's going to apply for $40,000? I couldn't live on it. And also, I couldn't live on it unless I owned my home. We have living quarters in the building. I think a half-time person might be willing to do it if they were given housing. I know that would affect our income, but otherwise we're going to be spending more income to hire a full-time person, so I'm not sure what the give and take is on that. As another item, which I think would affect all of these 1, 2, and 3, inspiring worship, pastoral care, and building membership is at the end of each service. I know it's been sort of up to whoever conducts the service to pick the last song or how it's led, and I believe that any song, whatever is used, should be well known to the congregation. Of course, we have the lyrics posted, but also should involve holding hands in a circle, because I think that builds membership. It also is inspiring just to have physical touch, in terms of being accepted in a group. And I think that would be a meaningful staple of each service.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie, for that. Marie, could you please stand?
I felt the same way about needing a full-time minister until I read, and if you haven't read, Part-Time is Plenty. The man who wrote the book pointed out a lot of ways of how churches can do with part-time, not only retired people, people that have a part-time job besides this, which as he said, gives them a wider view of the world, not just the religious world, but the real world out there also. That's all I can say. And yes, I live on less than $40,000 a year. It's tricky, but I know. But we're not asking someone to live on that. We're saying you need another half of an income. And how do you have a partner that has income? It's not just someone trying to live on that alone. Part-time is plenty.
Thank you, Marie. Wait, has anybody, Catherine's already had a chance to speak. Somebody else first?
Hi, right, Nan, please stand.
Thank you, Gabe. There is a joke that goes around that says, there's no such thing as part-time ministry. There's part-time pay. And that's something that we have to recognize if we're going in this direction. The other thing that I'm going to address is to tell you that we will be offering an OWL program next winter. For people over 60. So, Janice? It's not lifetime. It stands for Our Whole Lives, and it's a comprehensive human sexuality program based on faith and values. And a number of you have been through this in various ways with younger generations, so this is an opportunity for an older generation. Invite your friends, assuming they're over 60.
Thank you, Nan.
And I have been invited by Nan to help facilitate the OWL as well. Folks?
Wait, Catherine, don't go away.
Catherine will be back. Anybody else like to share what's going on? What are your thoughts are? Lorraine? Speaking to the mic.
When we were in this situation one time before, we had Peter Morales come here. And I asked him, but how do you know? And he said, look in the person's eyes. So what I want to say to you is, be careful about checking all the boxes. Look in the person's eyes before you say, this is the one we want.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you for that, Lorraine. Good morning.
Jamuna, please.
Hi, so I have a question. Oh, yeah, okay. So I have a question. What about for the people under 60 for OWL?
Nan?
Just you wait.
Thank you for showing that interest. So that's something to plan.
OWL, by the way, has always been lay-led at our congregation. That we haven't had OWL, even when we have ministers, is concerning.
I just want to say that we have a copy of Part-Time is Plenty right here in my hand. So if anybody wants to know how part-time ministry can work successfully, come and get this book.
Thank you, Catherine.
Jim, please stand.
Yeah, I was going to say that what works for part-time ministry is the same thing that works for full-time ministry, which is the congregation has to be involved in every part of it.
Thank you, Jim. Well, I do want to tell you that we have found somebody to provide inspiring worship. So far, he's too good to be true. Most of you have heard from Keola, and he is a candidate to become a credentialed minister. He is not a credentialed minister, so he's not allowed to apply for our job. But he has to do an internship, and he'd like to do it in Hawaii. He has to arrange his own supervisory minister because he'd be an intern, and he would probably be working, about as much as a half-time minister does. But there's a lot of details, but he seems great. And as soon as we put the ad up, he said, I know I can't apply, but I'm here and I'd like to be in the pulpit. So there was a response, and he'll be back in just a few weeks. Okay. Next week is the date we have now.
So our activity hasn't been dead because we had two potential candidates. One wanted to just consult from the mainland, so we had to turn them down. That's not our interest. And one wanted to just do Zoom services, and that doesn't fit our congregation, so we excused them, and the process continues.
So some people, I think, mentioned this, But there's potential if the congregation wants it, and having somebody who's retired or semi-retired come out for 2 months and provide inspiring worship and pastoral care, making community connections. They're probably not going to be able to do if they're only here for 2 months, but they probably can do some other things. But we haven't expanded our search beyond what we were supposed to be looking for.
As I was Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Kiss the mic. As I was researching other congregations who had half-time ministers, one church had the minister one church had the minister speak 2 times a month, and the other 2 were lay-led by what they call homilists. And the people in the congregation would give a homily. That was one of the things that was discussed and asked and talked about on our survey. There were several people who wanted to give homilies, and there were many people who enjoyed the homilies from the congregation because it gave a personal viewpoint of another person in the congregation. So in a lay-led church such as ourselves, and we have always been lay-led, except for recent experiences, like Laurel said, we have to do the work as the congregation, and that's one way to do it, is having people give homilies and have other suggestions.
Okay, I would like to acknowledge the excellent contributions. I think that was just the first topic. What do you mean by pastoral care? Does it have to be professional? Do we need to hire a minister to give pastoral care? Do we need to hire a chaplain to give pastoral care? Can it be entirely lay-led? Right now, it's lay-led, and it has been for when we had a full-time minister. And there were 12 people who said they'd like to be on the care team. I don't know what kind of training is required to give advanced pastoral care, but certainly the UUA has a program to at least empower lay-led people to be pastoral care listeners. So what do you mean by pastoral care? What do you think we should do?
Well, define pastoral care.
Blabbermouth. I think we should listen, but I also think that we need to have a structure, especially if we're inviting more people in the congregation to be part of pastoral care, of regular meetings and some level of supervision and support for the people who are providing pastoral care. I think that's happening already among the 4 of you who do that. I don't know. Okay, nobody now. Okay. So I think that there's a level of responsibility that isn't necessarily ministerial here, but it does need to be within the congregation and to have some structure that is transparent. But the main thing is to provide pastoral care among all of us. We all like to speak, except me, of course. But we also need to ramp up our listening, because that's how we find out where the care is needed.
And pastoral care includes hospital visits also, so keep that in mind.
So I think the listening is important. I had an incident a year and a half ago with a roommate who had a major mental health crisis, and having a minister on hand to call was really handy. I don't know, and having people here in the congregation when part of the crisis happened in the middle of church was really nice. There were people who just stepped up, but we don't have any kind of formal, like you said, Nan, formal structure for that kind of care. That's more than just listening.
And that's correct. The care team is just a listening The pastoral care would be a little bit more extensive, where you can actually recommend resources in the community if we have to lean towards more professional services. One last hand before we're getting close to closing our service, but thank you all. Stephanie?
Yeah, what she said. I think that pastoral care, from my perspective in a church, is basically, yes, listening to what the person's issue is and providing spiritual support. That's what I perceive as being appropriate from a church, or whatever term you want to apply "foosh" to. But when it comes to mental illness, that should not be our kuleana, because unless the person is professionally trained, they cannot be held responsible for the effect of that, and they shouldn't be encouraging a person who has real mental illness to rely on it, because they don't know what really is best in terms of a mental illness. I think at a certain point, the pastoral care has to be referred, to a professional person or group, which, there are many people in that profession, or at least there once was, in terms of psychological caretakers, that could be used as a referral, or we could, join forces with some other group that is in it professionally for referral once it's determined that that person does indeed need professional assistance.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Keith would like to have the last word. Okay.
Thank you, Keith. If you please stand.
Hi, everybody. I go from you get what you pay for. And I think I kind of wonder what kind of job package are we offering? Most companies, when they hire somebody, they provide, we'll say, a certain amount for moving costs. They help them find a home. They even actually provide tuition for their children. So if we can find and update our package offering that makes it attractive for someone to come to Hawaii, that they are supported over and above and taken into account how expensive it is to live here. But if we were to provide more of that, something to make getting a minister with his children to come here, to provide, we'll say, tuition in schools, and moving costs, help them move their furniture, all those things that would entice, we'll say, a minister with his family or his own parents to come here and live here. So I think it's a matter that how we can offer and make it very attractive for someone to come here, taking into account how expensive it is to live here. And that's what other businesses do. They help them come and move here. So if we want to attract people, we need to make it more attractive for them to be here with their families if we want to have a younger membership, for them to bring their kids to, that they will have a private school to go to or some kind of support system. So it's a matter, are we getting what we want to pay for?
All right, thank you, Keith.
And
We are on to the...
Moving expenses are included in negotiations, yes. Laurel, you're going to say?
I was going to let Abby talk.
Yes. Hi, Abigail.
I know you're wanting to wrap up, so I'll try to be brief, which is not usually my style. But Thomas and I are very new. We were brought in by Catherine, who I know through other circles. So this was a member. I'm not sure I agree that the minister should have responsibility for membership, responsibility for drawing people, because it sounds to me very likely the person will come from the continent. We're here 2 years. We're just meeting people. They're not going to know people. You know people. So perhaps think of it as a committee with the minister participating.
All right. Thank you, Abby. We are trying to come to a snappy conclusion. We want a lot. We have a lot to give. And we have a closing words and a benediction and a closing song. Just a song. Oh, okay. Song time. Ian. So, in an ill-advised attempt to save paper, I did not have an order of service printed. And I see that this is causing complications, and I won't do it again. Words of optimism, a Beatles sing-along.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to the faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. But here comes the sun. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's alright. It's alright.
The flame is extinguished, but we carry its light within us, sharing it with those we meet as we continue our search for a new minister.
Our benediction is, it sounds like this. Our faith, like a light, illuminates the path before us so that we can face hurt with love, cultivate compassion, live humbly in community, and confront despair with the awe of life. Through our flame is distinguished our faith shines bright before us. And before we sing our song of peace, we have a couple announcements that Catherine and I have to share. Sue Carpenter is on vacation with Dan. They're in Oaxaca. So the board meeting that was scheduled for so it's for tomorrow, has been changed to the 22nd. Thank you. And I'd just like to share one information here that you all may have already received an important congregational announcement in the last couple of days. Was sent out to members via the electronic newsletter regarding Reverend Dr. Greg, who, after an ongoing investigation of a complaint of unethical behavior that occurred in context beyond our church community, the UUA has terminated his credentials as a religious education minister and removed his standing as an aspirant for UU ministry. We are planning and we're scheduled a Zoom on Sunday the 13th, today, at 4 p.m. Now, if you had received that email, there's a link to register to participate in that Zoom. Also, Sarah, the minister that came from the national office, conducted another meeting in person here where the board will present, and that is on Tuesday at 11. Thank you, Catherine.
So these meetings are not to clarify any more information about Reverend Dr. Greg, because we don't have it, but they're to process any feelings or anything that you want to talk about and just have a place to process that. I'd also like to let you, Laurel mentioned this, but next week Keola Whittaker is going to be back in the pulpit, and he's going to just tell us about what happened at General Assembly in Baltimore a couple of weeks ago. We've never had a really good, thorough report on GA, and it gives him another opportunity to be here with us and get to know us, and him to get to know him, and for us to find out about General Assembly. The last Sunday in July, July 27th, we are going to be honoring Sylvia Himeda, who is our little baby child sitter, who has been with us for probably 30 years. And she's retiring finally, and so we're going to be celebrating her on July 27th. Also, to let you know, if you don't already, that Suzette, our office administrator, and Andrew, our newsletter editor, who's somewhere on the East Coast, I don't know where, are both on vacation. And so we are going to be without a newsletter for a week or two, and if I could keep these dates straight, it would be clearer for you, but I don't know when that is. This coming Wednesday, here in this church, we are having a presentation that's being sponsored by the Interfaith Alliance and the Baha'i community on on human trafficking here in Hawaii. So it's at 6 o'clock, and we're 6:30 here in this space, and you're all invited to find out more about what's going on here. And in Hawaii, I think not as much sex trafficking, but agricultural worker trafficking. And Marie has maybe more information.
I am on the board, thank you. It'll take two of us. The Interfaith of Alliance Hawaii board, and I'm in charge of this event here. Oh, as my partner told me, it's we, but anyway, in this building. So it says on the flyer, which I've put one on the one of the bulletin boards, that you have to RSVP. You don't. You can just show up. Because I questioned that, and they said they're not going to turn people away. So you don't have to, and we're looking for, we really want people to come to understand this problem, because it's not only sex workers, it's, which I've done some volunteer work with, and so have we, by the way, as a church, with Pacific Gateway Center, which works with trafficked farm workers. And what he also pointed out to me, which I didn't know, thought of, trafficked construction workers, trafficked hospitality hotel workers, and was just pointed out to me a couple days ago, trafficked fisher people. So this is not, yeah, I know, I get goosebumps every time I say all of that. This is not what we all think of just trafficked sex workers, which is a huge problem also. Okay? So see you Wednesday.
Okay, my last announcement is about our Joy is an Act of Resistance banner. It has been nothing but an issue since we tried to hang it to face the poly. The wind blew it down within about 5 seconds. We quickly repaired it. It blew it down again. We put it here in the porte cochere, thinking, okay, this is a safe place. The wind has just ripped it to shreds. And I have to say that I think this is symbolic. That joy is being ripped apart from every corner of the earth right now. And so I have, with the help of some members, we have some new ideas of how to make this work. So if anybody wants to help get some lath to drill holes in and attach it to the banner to make it sturdier, and we're going to make joy work in this time of strife. That's all I have to say. So those are the announcements. Thanks, everybody.
Come, Molly.
Oh, thank you, Molly. And Friday morning at 9 a.m. here in the sanctuary, we are going to be live streaming the memorial service for Nancy Young, who died June 23rd in LA. They're having memorial service at Studio City Unitarian Church. They're going to be having it on Zoom, and we're going to have our big TV set up out here, and we're going to watch it together, those who'd like to be here. And then we will talk story afterwards and remember her ourselves and have a reception. It's Friday, July 18, 9 a.m. right here. Thank you, Molly.
So if you please rise and ask before holding the hands and join in on our closing song of peace.